Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, Mana Traders, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters just like yourselves. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey guys, welcome back.
Ruben Bressler.
How's it going?
Oh, everything is lovely. Now,
Wonderful.
If you missed our pre-show, patrons and subscribers to this channel get access to our NSFW version early, including new Phoebe content. That's been all new, past couple episodes.
Extremely important Phoebe content.
Very nice. And we kick it off with our first pick. In our giveaway, get your chance at $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But sub first to get two chances. You got them dangling primes? You know what to do with them. And support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. That is thanks to our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com. You can find cool stuff in stock every single day. And we have to kick it off with the thing that not only myself, but Nerd Girl have been working on for many, many weeks now. And we can finally freaking talk about it. And so we're gonna. CommandFest, the CommandFest alongside pre-releases, however they want to brand that, is happening all over the country at this point. There's going to be 4 of them. There's going to be one in Orlando. Hey, it's CoolStuffInc.com hosting that one. It's going to be great. Richmond, Virginia, Indianapolis, and Seattle. And so this was something that I have been very excited about for a very long time. I'm going to bring up here the CommandFest website. Why? Because we worked on it a long time. Shut up.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's cool, but no, it's
Listen,
neat.
what's the point of having a show if you can't promote the things you do?
Right. If we can't show off a little something, as we do. So yeah, so we get to have here. We got our packages. We have special cool MTG Nerd Girl and Covert Go Blue tokens and playmats, which are super rad as part of the VIP experience. You get Hamlet tokens and then Covert Go Blue and an all-new style for a shark token, which is super cool. We actually added an event earlier today, on Sunday. We are doing a Super Sunday pre-release where first place gets a complete playset of March of the Machine. Non-foil, like inbox from Wizards. Just hand you 4 complete sets of March of the Machine. This is this is almost what I would describe as the old school pre-releases. Remember, we're like, everybody would go in, big prizes based on attendance, booster boxes all the way down, yada yada. Well, here's complete sets available to win on that day. I thought that was rad. And
what date is this for?
This is April 14th through 16th. Right there.
16th. That feels late.
Well,
let me rephrase. It feels like, well, I guess it's because it's associated with a pre-release, and they didn't want to announce any details about March of the Machines, maybe? But it feels like that's a very short amount of time between announcement date and event.
I wish there were more time between those two things.
I'm not blaming you.
Sure, I'm just saying. But one of the things we're actually doing that's really unique that no one else is doing, they might copy it, but if they did, you heard it here first. One of the issues with the pre-releases, just in general, this is for any store anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's the CommandFest or not, is that you cannot start pre-releases until 3 p.m. You just can't. Them's the rules. Not okay to do it anytime alone. But you can draft first thing in the morning on that Friday. So how about we take our VIPs, 1 VIP, 7 customers, go on a draft.
Cool.
And so you pay $20. You get a random special guest to hang out with you, and and the 7 customers there, and you draft. You draft it up, and that's a thing you can do on Friday morning. And I thought that was super rad. And we're doing that there. So yeah, all of our super cool people coming. Nerd Girl, hey, look, that's you.
That's me.
That's right.
You guys can come draft with me.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. And meet all these super cool people. Andre Garcia was added today, who is the artist for the playmats and the tokens for the event. So he'll be there, be able to sign all that good stuff. Mark Poole just got added as well. Mr. His Ancestral Recall, right? He did Ancestral Recall. He did Library of Alexandria, that I know.
Birds of Paradise.
Yep. Fan-freaking-tastic. Jason
I
Eagle.
took a look at the other websites for the other shows, and they have next to no guests. This is, even if you exclude me, a home run. A lot of really amazing guests.
And even if you include Nerd Girl, it's still
It gets
better.
a little worse.
Oh, stop. Now, Jason Engel, unfortunately, couldn't join us at the last CommandFest because he caught COVID. But, that's not happening anymore. So he's good, and we're back. And
Nice, good.
I'm very excited about it. It's really cool. Like I said, Nerd Girl is integrated in the way that she has been both on the front end and the back end, which is really cool to help set all this stuff up. And it's at a super cool place called the Caribe Royale that has an unbelievable pool that looks like that. And if you're listening to the podcast, it's a gigantic pool with waterfalls, plural, a water slide, hot tubs on the other side of it.
Well, yeah. This is a resort designed to be lived at while your family goes to Disney for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you get to have it in a place where you're also playing Magic, it's going to be a comfortable environment.
Yes.
Friendly confines for your Magic tournament.
Now, obviously, with the pride involved, I would like to think that we hold a pretty damn good event, and our event last time was awesome. And if those who got to go can certainly tell us any feedback they would like, but I think it went pretty damn well, and I'm excited to go back and have the show again.
Of course,
cool
you
stuff.
should go to the Cool Stuff Orlando event, but just out of curiosity, are the other 3 events on the same weekend?
Yes,
They are.
So there's 4. Is this? Give me a scale. Is this supposed to be a pre-release size event? A Grand Prix size event? Obviously not a Magic Fest.
it's supposed to be
Size
a
event.
CommandFest sized event, if that makes sense,
Okay.
which is generally based on.
Is it a CommandFest?
It is a CommandFest. So
In addition to a pre-release. That's
Yes.
a cool concept.
right, so it just so happens to kind of basically happen at the same time. So we're going to have all the pre-releases you want to play in are available, and pre-release vouchers are included in some of the entry options. But you don't have to. Again, this is Command time. Lots of VIPs you can meet and hang out with, and of course the prize wall's there. It's going to have oversized cards and full sheets like it always does, so you can grind side events if you want to get some of those things. And artists are going to be there. We're still working on even more people who might be able to attend the event. So it's rocking. It should be sweet. I agree. I wish there was more time, but we do the best what we got.
Again, that's not your fault. I feel like that's almost certainly a embargo situation.
And that said, anything else for the event, Nerd Girl, before we move on?
No, I'm just really excited for it. There's not a lot of time, but the nice thing is there are 4. I will say, just like outside of the fact that we're working on this Orlando one, I think the last Orlando event we went to was by far the happiest I've ever seen judges, ever seen booths and vendors. So, I mean, if you guys are kind of in the middle between 2, I definitely recommend the Orlando one. Just completely outside of being sponsored by them here on the show.
Yeah, we're not biased in any way possible.
Well,
I don't have to say that. It was genuinely a nice event. It was the nicest GP or CommandFest I've been to. So that's why I was happy to jump in and help out on this one.
Right. I think that it's also much more of a destination. If you're planning on making a trip out of it, if you're planning on making like a week or even a long weekend out of it, going to Orlando is going to be better of an experience, usually, all things taking into account, than going to Richmond or Indianapolis. Nothing against Richmond or Indianapolis. Seattle I love going to, but also I don't think that you're going to be fighting between Seattle and Orlando.
Yeah.
As those are the opposite sides of the country.
And that was the last time we had a CommandFest. Cool Stuff's Orlando one last year was against a Seattle CommandFest.
Yeah.
Right,
And-
but I feel like that's just not...
And
That's
that didn't do
you
anything.
might as well be 2 different countries.
Yeah, it was fine.
Personal side note, I just noticed it. Is the playmat just the angel art? It's not the full art, it looks like?
It is the art of Hamlet. So yeah, it's a
Well,
full
that's
art.
kind of a bummer.
It's a full art Hamlet. You don't want the full art Hamlet?
Well, I thought we were using the art that I gave you guys for the playmats, and I thought we were using the angel for the tokens, but that's...
We can talk about it.
I was just curious. I just noticed it, so I wasn't sure if it was like
them
on
yet,
the thing.
though I am getting
Oh, okay.
close. So we can talk about it.
This
And
is like some pre-show. This is
this
some
is crazy
pre-show
pre-show stuff. I'll tell you what.
I just noticed it. I thought maybe it was like
out.
not on there right, or if it was actually just the angel, which is cool. Either way, Hammy is great.
You would be surprised at the things that you look at when the things that launch and you're like, wait, did we talk about someone? It happens. So we're going to move on here out of the first pick to gather the townsfolk. Thanks to our sponsor, Mana Traders. Thank you guys so much for helping the show out by going to Mana Traders, getting yourself a subscription. Use the code MAGICMIKES for 12% off, which is a fantastic percent off, first of all. And it's the best tool to enhance your Magic Online experience. And you guys have, and we appreciate that. That helps the show oh so much. And I'm going to move on here to just some awesome pieces of content that we have to point out. Like Magic Man Sam, Ristic Studies.
Yeah.
He's amazing. All right. He's fantastic. I am humbled that I, helped to inspire him in any way. And at this point, he is just absolutely crushing it. And his latest work is Phyrexia is Hell, a 30-year history of Magic's biomechanical monsters. It's incredible. I'm still working my way through it, to be totally honest. But that doesn't mean it's not fantastic. I'm loving it, and it's great, and Sam's great.
Yeah. I have not had the chance to sit down and watch the Phyrexia one, but if it's anything like his other deep dives into planes and locations, I mean, I used Sam's video as a major jumping off point for Degens and Dragons. The summary of the art and the architecture and the culture and the inspirations of all of the planes, Kamigawa, Kaldheim, distilled into beautiful, just like, not bite-sized, but meal-sized bits, is so helpful for understanding the history of the game, the art, where the game is headed in the future, and seeing his commentary. It's not just that he's presenting facts, it's that he's such an artist himself in how to show off that stuff. So everything, if you get a chance to watch anything by Sam, obviously watch it, but especially because we're headed into this, Heart of Darkness arc of Magic, learning about the Phyrexians, learning about March of Machines, and where it came from and where it's headed is going to be a great boon.
This has to be one of the deepest stories. Like, I've never seen so many people hyped about story as I have for Brothers War, because that's sort of where it started for, I guess, most of us. I'm like I said, I'm not a big story buff, but not just Evan, my community as well, that they were just over the moon. So seeing them get like more story into Phyrexia and get, other people's excitement that their favorite story was coming back and being expanded got more people into lore and what's going on in Magic. So it's very, very cool.
Oh yeah, and the other half of that, the reason that I've not gotten through that is I'm also working on Madness, Memory, Mill, and Discard, which is a 2.5 hour plus deep dive by Spice 8 Rack. They make some really fantastic content. I've really been enjoying their stuff that they've created, and it's just been more sort of long form content. They go all the way down and all the way back up and all the way down again, and I definitely can tell the really cool, the way that he's made this video in particular and the way that he structured this video is just kind of brilliant, and I think it's terrific. And Spice 8 Rack, I'm a fan. I think you're great, and your video's good. And
for those of you that don't know the Sam that we're talking about, that is the Ristic Studies YouTube channel. Lots of excellent videos from the history of card frames and the Black Lotus, all the way into more detailed things like the history of Phyrexia.
Yep. So I love it. Good job, y'all. I mean, it's just literally like an incredible week for Magic content. Like, seriously, we've been kind of starved in many ways from something this cool to this long form, this deep dive. It's terrific. Now, do note that the Phyrexian Clickwheel stuff is happening starting, I think, this week. It should be March 3rd, so that's tomorrow. Visit your local WPN game store, spend $75 or more on some Magic, and get yourself one of these super duper cool Phyrexian clickdown things, which are going.
Clickwheel, yeah. the Commander Life Total things.
Yeah.
I think it started today because everybody's posting that they're opening the bundles, and I thought it was with sales of the bundles that they were available. So
it was kind of the right price to make, to hit that $75 threshold. So a lot of people are buying the bundle to get the thing and have it, all their Phyrexian stuff together.
Well, I was just letting you know. I think I'm seeing it on Twitter now, so it starts, I think, today.
Sure. I mean, either way, like, stores have had these for a minute. They get their products a little earlier. So that's not a huge surprise. But either way, I think this is a sweet promo item. I love it. I've seen misprints, like misconfigurations where like the numbers are upside down or whatever. And I already know people who are trying to collect those because they're going to be even more rare to find ones that are put together backwards, essentially.
And speaking of content, I have not looked at this, but it looks like the resleevables is back.
The resleevables have returned. Yeah, Cedric and P. Sully going through the first couple sets, technically, you know, alpha, beta, and limited of Magic, which was great. Listening to P. Sully talk about anything is usually just amazing, and it is.
Right.
So that's awesome. So yeah,
Very
so check
cool.
that out.
So covering alpha, beta, and unlimited in the first one. Cool.
Yeah. Very cool. And so they went from a podcast to kind of a video cast, like with like graphics and animations and stuff in there. It looks nice.
And in the last piece of content that came out, I want to pump this just because. So the next Commander at Home came out, and the guests on it were Spencer Crittenden of Harmon Quest fame, and my LARP buddy Chris, like just a guy from LARP. He's a very nice man. He's a freelance editor, but I love that they just brought, you know, someone that isn't a big star, like isn't a famous person. Chris is a delight. I really enjoyed having him on, and he is like that in real life. That's not a character. He's very fun.
That's great. Congratulations to Tolarian Community College. We raised over $225,000 for Trans Lifeline. Holy cow! Trans rights are human rights, and we gotta fix this stuff. It's awful. And so was grateful to be a part of it. Got to throw in some complete editions from Cool Stuff as part of the giveaways. I saw a bunch of people giving away stuff as well, which I think is fantastic. We raised a bunch of money for a good cause. High five, everybody!
Yeah.
Woo. Also, congratulations to Prof. I saw the first tweet of Prof's Kickstarter deck box hit Twitter today.
Ooh.
So that's being completed, and you know, that's actually a pretty fast turnaround time. Like, I just got my Cubamajigs, and that was like 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
So well done, Prof, for seeing that through start to finish and it getting into the wild so fast.
Yeah,
nice.
That's fantastic.
I saw that the Trans Lifeline stuff that Prof did showed up on, I believe, Polygon.
That's right.
Wrote an article about it. So hitting the mainstream, just very good.
Yeah, to have grown up in a world, particularly in the South, y'all, where gay rights were just, you know, fought for tooth and nail, took years and years. We're talking, you know, I mean, the Ellen episode was a giant thing when I was a teenager or whatever, like all that stuff. And we're just kind of right back where we are of demonizing things we don't know. And it's awful, and maybe we can make it a little bit better. So, that said, I'm going to move on here to Desperate Ravens, because we got some cool stuff. There was an interesting blogatog, the Mark Rosewater Tumblr blog, that posted some feedback about the Phyrexian language cards being available in draft boosters of 1. And this kinda is the bridge too far. Like, you know, booster fun is cool. We like treatments. Set boosters have weird, crazy stuff in them. We get that. We understand that. But to get a draft booster to be drafting Magic and then just see a Phyrexian Sheoldred, like, what? And he does mention here that they might have gone a little too far. Probably a mistake.
What do you think? What do you think if you opened a Phyrexian language card in a draft booster? What would you say?
I mean, I'm a Spike, dude. You know, I would love that. So, you know, so like as a Spike, that's awesome. I love it. Give me the powerful stuff. But just as like a collector, a casual fan of any kind.
Is the question whether it should be in Phyrexian or that they added Sheoldred to a set that it didn't originally come in?
No.
What is the point here?
The point is they put Phyrexian language cards in draft boosters.
Yeah.
Just
what
the
does a Spike
Phyrexian
have to do with it?
Well, he said, how would I feel about it being in a draft booster? I'm like, I would love it because they're powerful cards I can play with.
Because they're powerful cards.
Right.
But I
like,
think that they would have replaced the Phyrexian language cards with English language cards or whatever language you're drafting.
They could have done that,
right?
yes. That would have been fine.
Just like a different treatment. So aside from let's assume for the moment that they wouldn't replace the card, they would just replace the language.
Sure, I think that would be fine.
How do you feel about Phyrexian language or, you know, whatever language cards in draft boosters.
And that feels like that was the point of the question, not whether or not you're spiky and want powerful cards. It was just the language issue.
It's just language issue.
In a draft booster, so I do wish that there was some way to denote what the name of the card is, because I think that isn't the name in Phyrexian as well?
Everything's in Phyrexian.
So people don't even necessarily know what to look up if they don't know the cards well enough. And to boot, the old Praetors, and by old I mean the ones not in this set naturally, are not even in the set list. So if you go and you look up Phyrexia All Will Be One card list, it's not in there. So my only issue with it is that there's no good way for someone who's not very entrenched in the game to know how to go and look those things up.
Right.
I think this actually... Go ahead.
If you bought the pack at a store and didn't open it in the store as a part of a draft.
Right.
If you brought it home and it was part of a draft with your friends, but you're all new to Magic, and you don't necessarily know what every Magic card does.
Right.
Now you have no way to really Google it either.
I think this pivots right into the video that the Tolarian Community College posted, where the professor talks about mental fatigue and product fatigue being mental fatigue. Not that there are 3 sets coming out of, March of the Machine, and then we have Lord of the Rings, and we have Commander Masters. Cool, that's great. Well, that's not necessarily everything, because it's the set, but it's the set that's busted into 15 different things across 15 different products between the commander decks and the jumpstart and the draft and the set and the booster and the collector and the starter set and all this other crap, and having to have giant slideshows to explain how you get any of these cards in any of these packs. The fact that as a retailer, I can tell you 2-to-1 regular normal versions sell 2-to-1 over anything variant whatsoever. They have destroyed the price of foils to the point where sometimes foils are even cheaper than the non-foil counterparts, which just blows my mind.
I mean, that's a combination of 2 problems, not just the overprinting of the foils, but also the quality of the foils we've been getting as of late. I think we've destroyed people's trust in those foils.
It's mainly the drop rate. There was some crazy foil or crazy curling back in Ixalan or whatever, but the Ixalan foils are all still very expensive, right? So, part of it's just rare.
I mean, it's both, right?
It's both. But, again, it's kind of exhausting when you're just like, okay, what's in this set? You're going to have to hold on. We're going to have a spreadsheet, and we're going to have X's and O's over where this might or might not be, and this version's over here and that version's over there. 37 treatments, where there's now over 1,000 cards a set. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. I mean, Nurgle, you were just explaining, now you have to care about these weird rare cards you've never cared about before, and now, now you kind of want to learn more about the sets that come out, even the commander cards, even the exclusive commander cards, where I don't give a damn about those things, and I'm still feel overwhelmed.
I play Magic for a living, full-time content. I own a Magic esports team. I am on a Magic news podcast, and I don't know what the hell is happening half the time. I'm like, what is this thing? And I was playing Arena in this early access streamer event after having done hours and hours of set review for Twitch and YouTube, and someone just drops a Shieldred on me, and I'm just like, wait, what? Is there a glitch? And it had the Dominaria symbol, and I was super confused. I don't know how anybody, if I can't figure some stuff out sometimes, I don't know how anybody does.
I mean, I understand. I think part of it is that a lot of the way Wizards works, and this is also in design, is that they kind of have to push it and see what's too far, right? What's too much? So, for example, if you're designing a 2-mana creature, what's too much for a 2-mana creature? Being a 6/6. That's too much, right? That's too far. So you're going to start pulling it back. What starts to sound reasonable? Well, what they've done with variants and treatments, they've gone a little bit too far. I think they need to pull it back just a little bit. I'm not saying treatments are bad. I think cards look cool. We had a whole conversation in the pre-show about how I like fancy treatments and nobody else does. But it's cool. Hot damn, they've gone nuts. They've just gone completely overboard with it. And I think that's what we're finding out.
I think the issue is that they're not really pulling back on anything. They're not hey, let's try this new thing, see if it sells a bunch of product.
Right.
And then next time we'll try a different new thing and see if that sells some product. The issue is that we're doing new things every time in addition to all the old things to sell more and more product. At first it was the collector boosters. It's like, okay, well, now how do we sell these collector boosters? Now how do we do... And it's just more and more and more and more and more. And now it's to the point where nobody knows what the heck is going on anymore.
Like, the canary in the mine was when they started doing commander decks for every single set. And then I think the canary just died and fell out of the cage when they put Jumpstart. They put the set Jumpstart for every single set. And you're just like, guys, no. All right, well, moving on here to a story that just, you could not get away from this thing. Like, I was having people who had nothing to do with Magic contacted me and be like, hey, Evan, did you see this? Did you see how they threw away hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Magic cards in the landfill? And I'm like, okay. And you move and you go through here and there's video and there's pictures. And it's two things. One is that they found what could have been hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Modern Horizons 2 and other products. And the second part is that when they came back the next day, hundreds of thousands of tons of trash are added to these things every day. Yeah. And it just seemed to have gotten completely rolled over with trash. Feel free to...
Did they not take it?
Like, I don't know exactly how much they took. I don't know that degree.
I would have just not slept, and I would have called everybody I knew with a car within a 500-mile radius, and I would have been hauling shit out of the dump into my car.
I mean, you know,
I found $100,000 in the dump. Get down to the dump right now for our salary for the year.
And I'll be honest, I think this top-rated comment is the most likely thing that happened. You know, trucking companies do get stuck with pallets of stuff, and they don't know what's in them. They don't care. You know what I mean? For the trucking company, it's how many pallets, how much do they weigh, and where are they going? And if somebody didn't pay for them, they don't give a damn. At that point, they're getting anything they can out of it, and if they can get nothing, they'll just chuck it. I mean,
that's right.
That's just business, man. You got to move out for more product.
I mean,
I can't imagine with how big Magic and nerd culture is now that someone couldn't have Googled that and found out. I'm wondering, if anything, I'm like, oh, maybe someone was like, oh, these are probably worth a lot. Let's dump them and we'll come back.
I am generally pretty astounded by the things that I think are common culture knowledge that are not common culture knowledge. So.
Yeah, I mean, the United States has, 350 million people?
Something like that.
And there's 30-ish million people that play Magic worldwide. Let's say 6 million, let's say 10 million of them.
That's ambitious, yes.
Sure. Let's say 10 million Magic players in North America. How do we feel about 10 million?
I mean, again.
I agree with what you're saying. The average person could definitely not know that these things are worth something.
Right.
What I'm saying is if you work for the trucking company and you're used to hauling around millions of dollars of product, I would probably look some of the product up before I dumped it, is what I'm saying.
It depends on how much you dump, like, all the time, right? Quote it,
fair.
Print it. It depends on how much you dump all the time. Like, look, I'm not going to look up every cologne, every booze,
let me tell you
collectible plate.
Let me tell you a little story. Okay, this is a true story. Once upon a time, Amazon sent cool stuff, a pallet of stuff. And I mean the most random stuff you can think of. Particularly, it was a lot of soap, like bars of soap or whatever. Right. And so, amongst other sundries or whatever, and we contacted Amazon and we're like, hey, you left a whole pallet of crap here. And they're like, do whatever you want with it. And we're like, what? And they're like, do whatever you want. Like, it cost more to take the pallet back to the warehouse and put the stuff back or whatever than to just chalk it up and let it go. And so, like, I had bars of soap for literally years that I used that came from the free Amazon pallet. It happens. It just happens, man. Oh.
But you're right. If I had been the person taking the photo and posting it to Reddit, you're right that the fact that they weren't just standing on top of that, guarding it, like a seagull that found half a bagel, is wild. I would have been the angriest chihuahua with a dog toy you've ever seen.
Oh my goodness. Look, y'all, so we got to move here to some splash damage. I am not a Pokemon guy, all right? I didn't catch the Pokemon fever. I didn't get to play the games. I was an adult basically as soon as that started getting huge, and it left by me. Same thing with Power Rangers. I just didn't get it, right? But I want this product that Pokemon is making because it looks incredible. Take a look at this right here. This is the Pokemon card game classic. These little bits over here, you see that little swirl right there on the right hand side on the image up here above the 4 little columns of colored things? Like, that's a little swirl you put a little metal ball in to choose heads or tails. That's where it...
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it has 2 little divots and it's heads or tails down there. And, like, this thing is so freaking rad. I can't even. Like, just look, I'm moving through the video here kind of quickly. But, like, look at that thing. Look at the ball. Did you see the ball? Look at the ball. That thing is incredible. I'm just like, I can't with how cool this product is.
That's a lot bigger than I thought it was. When I saw the thing, I was like, what is this?
Yeah. And these markers, the damage markers are like little cones. They stack. The cones stack on top of each other because in Pokemon damage stays and yada yada. This is brilliant. So these are like 3 decks built around classic Pokemon with like a special treatment or whatever, and like it's all in one cool like suitcase thing that breaks down into. This is freaking awesome.
That's
and
gorgeous.
For someone who's just like, I like collectibles, right? I deal more or less in collectibles day in and day out. And this thing is awesome. And I think it's going for like $225 or something in Japan because they're making a Japanese version and an American version. Slap the money down. Slap it. Slap it down. Throw it in the closet. This is exactly the type of thing in 10 years is going to be $1 million because it's so cool. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I think it's brilliant. I love it.
And also, I assume it's backwards compatible with just regular the game Pokemon.
Oh, sure. I mean, the little markers are markers. Yeah, the markers are markers.
Markers are markers. The board is a board.
Yep.
Your little coin flip ball is a little coin flip ball. And, yeah, this thing's dope.
I swear to God.
What a nice thing.
Like, I contacted the guy in charge of Pokemon and cool stuff, and I was like, if we're getting any of these, we need to talk. Like, I got to figure out how to get myself one of these, because I just think it's super rad.
Yeah. That's gorgeous.
Again, as a guy who doesn't play Pokemon or deal with Pokemon, I think this is the sweetest looking collectible that Pokemon has ever made. I think it's brilliant. So that's super cool. Let's go ahead and turn the corner here to the finisher. Team up, everybody. Everybody everywhere, team up, everybody do your share. We have some cool team-ups coming, but what team-up are you hoping arrives in March with March, Ruben?
When I think team-ups, I think partners. So the team-ups I want the most are from in-game love matches, like Faraz and Sarah, Ralzeric and Tomic, Chandra and Nissa, and of course, Deceiver Exarch and Splinter Twin.
Name a more iconic duo. Mm-hmm. Nerd Girl?
All right, well, goblins are ubiquitous, so I want to see the biggest Gobbo team-up this side of the multiverse when Krenko and Muxus team up for the first time, since Best of One came to Historic.
Heyo. Now, look, the cool team-ups we've seen so far from across the plains are great, but we can go further. There's more heroes out there, so I'm excited for the super team-up of all super team-ups, Optimus Prime and Rick from The Walking Dead appearing so good it will break the Phyrexians and the fourth wall. That's right. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you next week.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thanks for joining us.
You bet. We're going to move on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, Mana Traders, my co-host, MTG Nerd Girl, and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook, or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.